and welcome to another episode of the Toilets to Titles NFL Review Preview here Wednesday night with me, Joe. This is where we review the previous week's NFL games and do a preview of the upcoming NFL games. Glad to have you in tonight as always, people. Let's get this show rocking because I am busy. I should have started like an hour ago, but things jump up in life. It's crazy, crazy busy right now in my life. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing, but a little too crazy right now. Anyway, before we get into the content of the show, bells and whistles, let's get them out of the way. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Give us that 5-star Apple review. We greatly appreciate it. Quite frankly, I think we deserve it. Where you can watch the show. Apple Podcast, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and Facebook, where we have two pages. That is obviously Toilets to Titles, and the other one is When a Family Breaks, which is our Facebook page dedicated to the trading of sports memorabilia. And if you go to patreon.com/toilets to titles, you can learn how you can further support the show. Okay, little dollar green always helps, and it helps keeps things flowing and bringing out new great content. Anyway, we also have a website, a great website we launched in August, toiletstotitles.com. It's got all of our videos, articles, tons of fantasy and NFL football content. It's going to be flooded very soon with draft content. So the next few months during the off season, we're going to be pivoting big time to draft content. It's going to be a lot of fun. Because as much as I love NFL football and NCAA football, I think I like the draft even more. And especially as a Giants fan, for the past 10 years we've been horrible. So that's really pretty much all I've had to look forward to. So it's like my extended Christmas. And following the show is Dollars to Deuces, which is our NFL and NCAA betting advice. Well, NCAA season's over, still the NFL, but it's our betting advice program. It's on following the show at around 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Rich and Nate. If you have any questions, send them through the chat, but they will be giving their own betting advice anyway. And before we get into the content any further over here, let's check out the comments. Hey, Amanda Feeney. Hi from Justin's sister. Hey, Amanda. How are you? Hope everything's going well. Justin is a really great guy. Really great guy, by the way. I love doing the show with him. Really good guy. So, Amanda, good to have you aboard tonight. And Amanda, why don't you join me for the ride? We're going to recap last week's games and we're going to preview the upcoming games. Let me turn that off there. There we go. Let me get into the content. I got to rush through this a little bit because got emergency stuff going on with work, but I have just enough time to get this great show in. So anyway, the wild card weekend, we just had the games, and I'll tell you, I think this has been a wonderful NFL season. And these games did not disappoint, in my opinion. The first one was the Bengals defeated the Raiders 26-19. My feeling about this game is like, listen, both of these teams have had a really good season. Hats off to the Las Vegas Raiders, who had, easily could have just crumbled under the pressure of losing their head coach mid-season. The whole Henry Ruggs terrible incident, stuff like that happens, and NFL teams, any professional team, can crumble. Just get disconnected from everything having to do with football. But the Raiders didn't do that. The Raiders hung tough with the interim head coach, who's their special teams coach, but he's the interim head coach, and we're going to see whether or not I forgot his name off the top of my head, but apparently the Raiders just fired their GM. Mike Mayock has been the GM for 3 years, and I was surprised when I read that. It seems like it's been longer. I thought it was like 4 or 5 years, but I guess Mike Mayock has been the GM for the past 3 years. He's out, even though they made the playoffs this year. And I think the Raiders are actually building pretty well. They've got a little ways to go. The Raiders, they're far from a complete team. Need to bolster that run defense. They need to bolster the offensive line, and they need some better wide receivers. I like Renfro a lot, but I think he's the only consistent one. And he's really good. I think he'd be a really good number two, pairing to a better number one wide receiver. But Renfro looks really good. Josh Jacobs is a good running back. Not spectacular, but he's a good, steady running back. And and obviously they have a really good quarterback. This is a great year for their quarterback over at the Raiders, and they just had the Raiders overall had a good season. I commend them. But you know what? You lost to a better team, and that's no shame in saying that. The Bengals are definitely a young and up and coming team. They won one of the toughest divisions in football this year, and it wasn't as tough as usual because the Steelers The Steelers are not the Steelers of old, even though they had a winning record and they made the playoffs themselves, as you'll see, as we'll get to later. The Ravens suffered through a lot of injuries, but I'm not taking anything away from the Bengals because they won the games they needed to win, and they won it in good style. And they've got their great young quarterback, franchise quarterback, elite quarterback in Joe Burrow. I think we could say that he's elite. He's having an elite season. He looks fantastic with his elite wide receiver core, and you know what? They've got Joe Mixon too, and the Bengals also have a pretty solid defense, kind of underrated. No one really takes too hard of a look at it because the offensive side of the ball for the Bengals is what's sexy, but the Bengals actually have a pretty decent defense. So Bengals took care of business in a really good game here. The Raiders, like they've done all season, when they did lose a game, they went down swinging, and they went down swinging in this game in Cincinnati. I do want to say hats off to the Bengals and the Bengals fans. You've been waiting for a time like this for a long time, and you deserve it. You're back in the playoffs. You've got a great young quarterback. Your future's looking really bright. You deserve this. You've gone through quite a few painful decades, Bengals fans. I'm quite aware. But you got a hard-earned win here against the Raiders. It came down to like the last play, pretty much. I think what was it like? The Raiders, I think, got to the Bengals. Was it the 9-yard line, if I recall correctly? Anyway, it was a heck of a game. Bengals hung on for the win. And actually, you know what? I mean, this is a game, one of the games I watched more than some of the others. And there were a few times there when I thought the Raiders were going to start getting blown out, that the game was going to get out of control, and it didn't. And it didn't. The Raiders hung tough. The defense hung tough, especially in the second half, and they kept it a close game. The Raiders almost tied it up, and at least sent it into overtime almost. So, but anyway, great game. Hats off to the Raiders for the good season they had, and hey, congratulations to the Bengals as their playoff march continues. We'll see later on as we preview next week's games if they're going to meet their match. The Bills defeated the Patriots 47-17. Statement game by the Bills, definitely. I'm not surprised by this outcome. I actually, in last week's picks, I took the Patriots getting the points. I took the Bills straight up to win. I took the Patriots getting the points. In hindsight, I shouldn't have. It, it, I picked the Bills to win the second regular season game against the Patriots. In the first game, I picked the first matchup. I did pick the Patriots to win, and then the second game, I picked the Bills to win, and I was right both times. And I picked the Bills to win this game straight up. The Bills, statement here, listen, the Patriots are retooling, they're rebuilding. It's still in the process of rebuilding, in my opinion. Belichick is, moving on to a new generation of players for the most part, and obviously led by his new young rookie quarterback in Mac Jones, and who had a very good, commendable season. Mac Jones did. But the tables are turned here. The Bills are now kind of like a playoff proven team. They've been in the playoffs the past 2 years. I think this is the third year in a row. And Josh Allen's now has a decent amount of playoff experience. Josh Allen is clearly over the Bill Belichick hump. That is when a rookie quarterback comes in and they got to face Belichick for the first time, he always makes them look like ass. He makes a great quarterback, even a great rookie, look like crap. And then maybe the next game, maybe not as bad. It usually takes a while to get like your first win against Belichick. And I'm not saying that the Bills had I'm not saying that Josh Allen had his first win this year against Belichick. I believe he's won games before against Belichick. But it looks like it's getting easier and easier. Josh Allen is obviously maturing. He had a great season last year. He had a great season this year, and he made this was a statement game for Josh Allen and for the Bills. They took care of business as they should have. They were the better team, and they really kicked the crap out of the Patriots. But Patriots, I think you got a good future ahead of you. Especially, obviously you have Belichick. Having Belichick is like having Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. It's like it's an equalizer. I refer to these type of people, these types of players and coaches as equalizers. He's a genius. He makes even a mediocre team just look so good. And so great season by the Patriots. They made it back to the playoffs. They've got a promising young rookie quarterback. But the Bills are they're now kind of like a playoff seasoned team, and they're showing it. And Josh Allen is a playoff seasoned quarterback, and he's showing it. Okay, let's move on to the next game. The Buccaneers defeated the Eagles 31-15. Here's a few takeaways on this game. I am worried about the Buccaneers still. For the vast majority of the season, I had the Buccaneers. I see there's a new comment. new commenter. I will get to you in 1 second. Let me just get through this game real quick. I am worried about the Buccaneers. I had the Buccaneers as my number one team throughout the entire season, pretty much until like the last 2 weeks. Once Godwin went down, and once Antonio Brown was kicked off the team, that is going to hurt this team. I do think it's going to prevent them from repeating as Super Bowl champions. They need Leonard Fournette. They need Leonard Fournette back, and I think he's back. But I don't know if he's, mid-season Leonard Fournette, because Fournette was having a wonderful season this year, and they need him to be like that. They need him to be 100%. So especially, with Godwin and Brown, not available. So they need Leonard Fournette to show up to help Gronkowski and to help Mike Evans. Tom Brady, he's the goat, but he still needs weapons as well. And so the Buccaneers took care of business here against the Eagles. The Eagles, you had an admirable season. You had a good season. You made the playoffs. Most people, including myself, weren't expecting much of expecting 4 wins, to be honest with you. And here you performed really well. Jalen Hurts, I gotta say, I supported. I thought it was a good idea. I like that the Eagles gave Jalen Hurts an entire year to show what he can do. And he is a big reason why people could criticize his passing, which we'll get to in a second. But Jalen Hurts is a big reason why the Eagles even made the playoffs this year. The Eagles have a stout defense. They have a good running game when the running backs are healthy, but that's not all the time. That's not all the time. And I think the Eagles need better receivers as well. I like Devontae Smith a lot. I love him. I wanted the Giants to draft him at number 11, but the Eagles traded up and got him. And I still believe in that guy that he can be a number one wide receiver. I just don't think he's ready yet. But I also think he needs kind of like another good wide receiver on the opposite side of him as well. And I don't think the Eagles have that right now. I don't believe in Kez Watkins. I don't believe in was it Jalen Rager? Jalen Rager, I think, is their other one of their other wide receivers. I don't believe in these guys at all. But here's the thing about Jalen Hurts. I watched quite a bit of that game. His passing was really bad, and I'm not just talking about the decision making. I'm talking about his actual passes. Like these things were kind of like floaters, wobbly, and honestly, I wasn't really aware of that. I heard people throughout the season criticizing his passing, but I hadn't really watched a game. I've seen highlights of games, but I hadn't really watched an Eagles game. And he's an impressive kind of like Lamar Jackson type of light with his ability to run and scramble and create plays from his ability to run and buy more time. He's not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's got a very strong arm. And I do think Lamar Jackson's actually pretty accurate. I think he's accurate enough. Um, he does not have Lamar Jackson's arm. But the thing is that the Eagles have 3 first-round picks this year. They've got 3 first-round picks, and they could easily take a quarterback in the first round, probably without even trading up. The thing is, I'm not crazy about this quarterback class at all. I'm really not. I think there's intriguing prospects there with some potential, but I'm not crazy about them though. I don't think any of these guys have the ceiling to be a franchise quarterback. I'm not crazy about Malik Willis. So that's one name I keep hearing. Malik Willis, Malik Willis, Malik Willis. The guy plays at Liberty. I never even heard of Liberty until I heard the name Malik Willis earlier this year. Earlier in 2021. Yeah, when they're talking about quarterbacks to look out for this year. I never even heard of Liberty until I heard of Malik Willis. And I watched Malik Willis, even the highlights I wasn't all that impressed with. The dude has a really strong arm and he can scramble. He's a scrambler. He's kind of like Lamar Jackson. Everyone wants Lamar Jackson now, who I love. But Lamar is Lamar. Kyler Murray, you can say, is the same way too. But Malik Willis, I mean, dude, he plays at Liberty. I mean, what division even is that? Is that like Division 5? I mean, what division is that? And I mean, who is he playing against? I mean, come on, give me a break. And I've seen the guy, his passes. I don't think Malik Willis could, as of at least right now, maybe he could be trained to be much better, much more accurate quarterback. But man, I don't think Malik Willis can hit the side of the barn from 2 feet away. He is really inaccurate. I'm like, well, anyway, I'm going off on a big time tangent here about quarterbacks coming to this next draft class. We'll see what the Eagles do. I wouldn't be surprised if they take a quarterback in the first round. I also wouldn't be surprised if they take a quarterback in the second round, maybe like a Desmond Ritter or even like Bailey Zappi or Bailey Zapp, I think is his name. Is a name I'm coming across more and more. I think he's quarterback from Western Kentucky, and he's a name I'm hearing pop up more and more. I really don't know anything about him, so I don't want to sound like I really know what I'm talking about there. It's just a name that I've been hearing more and more. Point being that I can see the Eagles taking another quarterback, at least to develop and possibly challenge a Jalen Hurts this year, but maybe to develop in 2022 so that new quarterback can be prepped to take over in 2023. We'll see. But Eagles, you lost here to a much better team, flat out, much better team. And there's no question about that even going into the game. You had a good season. You got, what was it? I think 9 wins, I think. You had a good season. You made the playoffs. We'll get to the comments. Oh, that is not, that is spam. I got spammed. Okay. Next game, 49ers defeated the Cowboys 23-17. I snap my fingers, not in jest. Listen, I'm a Giants fan. I don't trash other teams. They're obviously the Cowboys are a divisional rival of my team, but I snap because I picked the Cowboys to win this game. I've had the Cowboys ranked in my top 3 teams the entire year, and I thought they would be making it to at least the divisional games. I felt really strongly about that. And I even felt pretty strongly about this. The funny thing is there was a lot of talk leading up to this game about how the Cowboys better, look out. But it was kind of like looked like an upset in the making. And I saw that too. I mean, I didn't think the upset would actually occur, but thought it was a possibility. 49ers are a tough team. They've got a tough defense. Their offense, I love that offense. Oh, how I would love to clone Kyle Shanahan and have him be the head coach of my team, or at least the offensive coordinator. I would love that. I love Kyle Shanahan. I love his offense. I love how they run the ball. And they've got a really stout defense. Listen, they came in and they took care of business here against the Cowboys. And the 49ers have had a tough season. They've gone through a lot of their own injuries, and they've battled. They battled a lot. And I don't know, maybe the Cowboys had it a little too easy being in a crappy division, because the Cowboys are a really talented team. The 49ers were playing in the toughest division this year. They're playing in the same division as the Rams and the Cardinals and the 49ers. All 3 of those teams made the playoffs. And the 49ers and Rams, I think, are matching up this weekend, as a matter of fact, I believe. We'll get into that a little later. But, Cowboys, I think, listen, Cowboy fans, I think you're primed really well for the near future. I really do. Your defense is actually good. Yeah, you have real stud talent at each level of your defense. That's on the defensive line, the linebacker position, and your secondary. um, you're good. You're good. You do need to add, need to freshen up that offensive line a little bit. It's not as stout as it used to be for a long time, and you might, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys maybe in the second round take a big stud running back to complement Zeke and Pollard, and maybe start taking over the reins there. I don't know, because this is the second year in a row where Zeke hasn't looked like Zeke, and last year I understood because the Cowboys offensive line was really beset by injury last year, along with Dak going down with that nasty season-ending injury in the middle of the year as well. So I thought maybe that was just what hurt Zeke, but he didn't look the same this year either. I think he had over. I think he was like number 8 in rushing yards by running backs this year. But you know what? You can tell it's not the same. It was not the same dominant Zeke that we were used to like the first 4 years of his career. Um, so a little concern there, but listen, I think the Cowboys' future is really bright. They still have a boatload of talent to build from, a boatload of young talent to build off of. I think it's just sky's the limit for the Cowboys in the near future. I really do. I believe that. Okay, next game. Chiefs defeated the Steelers 42-21. Chiefs took care of business. I think in this game, no, I didn't actually take the Steelers with the points. I actually wound up taking the Chiefs both ways. But Big Ben's last game, hats off to you, Ben Roethlisberger. You had a great career. You're now joining Eli and Philip Rivers from that 2004 great 2004 quarterback class. You're going into retirement. I think there's a really cool. I think there's a really cool Super Bowl Budweiser commercial to be made there with Eli, Ben, and Philip Rivers, like in a retirement home or something like that, like class of 2004, something like that. There could be a really cool commercial with those 3 made now that Big Ben is retiring. But Steelers go down to the better team. And yeah, I am surprised that it was like a 21 point difference, to be honest with you, just with the Steelers defense being so good. But Steelers offense is not what it used to be as well. That offensive line, that's another team that traditionally has a very good, stout offensive line like the Cowboys. And it was not so this year. They're going to be looking for offensive line help. Um, they need to upgrade their playmakers too. I don't think their wide receivers are all that good. I think they're kind of like complementary guys. They need a stud wide receiver. And Najee Harris, the rookie running back, had a really nice year, but they need a better offensive line and they need a real stud wide receiver there. And they're going to need a quarterback. We'll see what's going on with the quarterback. Steelers are going to be in the market. I could see the Steelers trading for a quarterback. They could easily draft one in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised. They might go that route. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers trade for a quarterback. I don't know who yet. I don't know who yet, but I could see it. I could see it. I did that already. Did that. Okay. Rams defeated the Cardinals, the Monday night game. We got a treat from the NFL. We got a Monday night playoff game. I thought that was so cool. The Rams kicked the crap out of the Cardinals, 34-11. I will say this: the Cardinals. He had a great season. Your future is also super bright. A lot of people are starting to question Kyler Murray now. Like, is he solved? He's too short. We all know he's been short. I think he's too talented to be written off all of a sudden. It happens. I felt all along. I don't think I ever had the Cardinals ranked above number 5 in my top 10 teams the entire year, even when they were undefeated at like 9-0 or 10-0, whatever they got to. And they were looking really impressive. And their defense, young defense, is looking really good too. I just had a feeling, even before DeAndre Hopkins went down, and before Murray missed a few games with an injury too. I just had a feeling the wheels were going to come off at some point with the Cardinals because they are a young team. Kyler Murray is a very young quarterback. I still feel like they need more talent on offense. I'm not crazy about their wide receiver. I'm not crazy about their running backs. Connor is a beast at the goal line. Yeah, you give him the ball from like 1 yard out, he'll run it in. He's not really a guy that you can count on like the entire season to be like a real ball hawk on the ground with the football. Uh, I think Chase Simmons is pretty good. I think he's pretty good. I think he'd be a better complementary back, like a better number 2 running back, to be honest with you. I think the Cardinals can use a real stud running back, but they also need another good wide receiver who's consistent, opposite of DeAndre Hopkins. Also, if DeAndre Hopkins gets injured, to pick up his spot as well. So I think they need another outside wide receiver stud to go to play opposite of DeAndre Hopkins. I like Rondale Moore a lot. He did not have the rookie year I was expecting to have, but hey, he was a rookie. But I was expecting more from him, I gotta say. But I still think he's got a bright future ahead of him. Christian Kirk, I believe is his name. He had a good season. He had a good season, but I'm not a big believer in him. I'm not, for like an entire season. I'm not a big believer in him. I think the Cardinals need another stud wide receiver opposite of DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think Kyler Murray is the problem. I think Kyler Murray is the solution. I think Kyler Murray is a wonderful young talent. Cardinals fans, be happy. Your future is really bright, really, really bright. And now we're going to move on. We'll be moving on to the divisional games this upcoming week. And I'm going to give my picks with the spread and straight up. Before I go any further, go Pack Go. Amanda Feedy, you're a Packers fan? Does Justin know this? Does Justin know this, Amanda? Does he know that you're a Packers fan? And I have a question too. Did you grow up in Indiana and you grew up as a Packers fan, or do you live in Wisconsin and you're a Packers fan? I'm just curious if you grew up in Indiana. And I'm always curious as to fans of teams, how they became fans of their team. Like, is it they live in the same state, or did they just throw on the TV when they were a kid, throw on the TV channel when they were a kid, and the Packers game was on, they just became a Packers fan? I'm always just curious. So, but I hope Justin doesn't know that you're a Packers fan because I know he's a big Colts fan. And Amanda, right now, my pick is for your team to win the Super Bowl this year. We'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, the divisional games. Let me get my picks up here. I'm going to do share a screen. Okay, share a screen. Let's push these buttons. There we go. Okay, let's see what you're seeing. Okay, Amanda says that we grew up in Indiana, but our mom's side is from Wisconsin. Cool. I get it. I get it. That's awesome. I like it. Hey, listen, Amanda, I think your team is winning it all this year. I really do. I didn't necessarily think that in the middle of the year. I thought they'd probably go to the NFC Championship game, either them or Dallas. In the middle of the year, I was picking the Buccaneers to repeat, but with the Buccaneers, missing some of their best wide receivers. I can't do that anymore. And your team is, I'll pick the Cowboys. Amanda says, I'll pick the Packers over the Colts anytime. Listen, when you got Aaron Rodgers, holy cow. What's Kevin Stefanski checking in? Hey, Kevin Stefanski. Hey, man, I'm a big fan of yours. I think you did a good job in Cleveland. I don't care that people are kind of angry at you. Actually, I think you're doing a good job as head coach over in Cleveland. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys are here. Kevin and Amanda, say hi to each other. I'm so happy you're here. But Amanda, um, you know what? The Packers, you having like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers back to back. That is an amazing feeling. That is really an amazing feeling. It really is. It really is. Okay, guys, I got to move on over here. Okay, real quick. All right, so my picks. I just want to make sure, yeah, you see the screen. Okay, so my wild card results. My picks. I was 3-3 with the spread, and I was 5-1 straight up. So far for the year, my results are with the spread, I'm 156, 118, and 3. And straight up, I am 176 and 102. I think that's pretty good. Now, here are my picks coming up for this upcoming week's divisional games, and these are good matchups, really good matchups. I'm so looking forward to these games. You got the Bengals at the Titans. The Titans are giving 3.5 points. I'm taking the Bengals getting the points, and I'm taking the Titans straight up. We'll see. I think this all depends on Derrick Henry. What Derrick Henry is going to show up. Obviously, Derrick Henry is my favorite running back of football. I love a power running back, and that is what he is to the extreme. He's like Marshawn Lynch. This guy he will bowl you over and knock you over all day long. Nick Chubb is the same way, right, Stefanski? Nick Chubb is the same way. I love that type of running back. Um, Apparently, good news on for Derrick Henry. He had full contact practice today. Everything was a-okay, but he hasn't played like in 6 weeks. Um, so that could mean something. That could definitely mean something. So, but I've got to assume I've got to work under the assumption that it's not like he's a quarterback who really has to get back in that type of rhythm. But I'm gonna have to assume that Derrick Henry, excuse me, is gonna be fine and he's going to be the difference maker in this game. But this is going to be a good matchup. I do think the Bengals meet their match here against the Titans. I got to go with the Titans at home. I do think it's going to be a close game, regardless of how Derrick Henry plays. The Titans' defense has been very good this year. So I am taking the Titans straight up. I will take the Bengals getting the points, but I'll take the Titans straight up. But that's a heck of a matchup. That's going to be so exciting. That's an exciting game. It really is. 49ers and the Packers. Okay, Amanda Feeney, here we go. 49ers and the Packers. The Packers are given 6 points. I'm taking the Packers giving the points and the Packers straight up. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I just think the Packers are going to win by more than 6. Hey, they could just win by a touchdown. That's not a blowout. I could see the Packers winning by like 10 points this game in Green Bay. I could see the Packers winning this game by 10 points. And I think it'll be a close game throughout most of the way, but I think the Packers will pull it away like in the fourth quarter, maybe second half of the third quarter. Packers are healthy. People, rest of the NFL, warning to you: the Packers are now healthy. I believe, like fully healthy. They've had some really, really good players. I like Jare Alexander, their All Pro cornerback who was out with an injury most of the season. He's back. They've got some other key defensive players back. And the Packers defense, even without those guys, was playing really well this year. This is not, this is not your father's Packers or your grandfather's Packers who, always had good quarterbacks for the past like 30 years, but really kind of like either a mediocre at best defense or a crappy defense. The Packers have a legitimate defense, and they've got a legitimate running game with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. And listen, you got you got the best quarterback today of his time in Aaron Rodgers. Well, him or Tom Brady, take your pick, but Aaron Rodgers is just a phenomenal quarterback, and they've got a really good wide receiving core. So the Packers they're ready to go. They are ready to go. And I can't see the Packers losing this game against the 49ers. The 49ers are a tough play for anyone. Handling that 49ers run offense, defending against it is not easy for anyone. But I think the Packers are going to be too much for the 49ers, and I think the Packers defense is going to show up and play pretty darn well because like I said, they played well all season long, and now they're getting some of their best players back on defense who've been missing for a big chunk of the season. Rams at the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are giving 3 points. You know what? I'm taking the Rams getting the points and the Rams straight up in this game. I think that the Rams are looking really primed. They're looking really primed right now, like them and the Packers. They're looking really good. They're in really good form, really good shape. I am really worried about the Buccaneers with their really worried about the Buccaneers with their lack of wide receivers. I mean, they still have good wide receiver talent, really good wide receiver talent, but losing Godwin and Antonio Brown, that hurts. It hurts a lot. And here's another thing too. The strength of the Buccaneers defense is their run defense. It's almost impossible to run against the Buccaneers defense. It's that good. It's really, really good. Their pass defense, not so much. It's actually the pass defense is pretty good, but not so much. And the Rams, the strength of their offense is obviously the passing game. But the Rams have a really good defense too. I just feel like you know what I feel like the Rams. I just feel like there's an upset here in the making. And I think that the Rams are trending really hot. They're playing really, really hot. And like I said, I'm just worried about the Buccaneers and those, missing those two really key wide receivers. So I'm going to go with the Rams getting the points and the Rams straight up to pull the upset in Tampa Bay and to knock off the defending Super Bowl champions here. The Bills at the Chiefs. Wow, man, it's like which which game is the game of the week? Yeah, I got to go with this one. I got to go with the final game, Sunday night, Bills at the Chiefs, because this is friggin' interesting. The Chiefs are giving a point and a half. This game's in Kansas City. They're giving a point and a half. That's not much at all. This is basically a toss-up game. I'm taking the Bills getting the points and the Bills straight up for the upset. I feel like the Bills are a better team than the Chiefs right now. I think the Chiefs, they had a real shaky beginning, start to the season where I think like the first 6 games they were getting their wins. They were like 4-2, but they looked really shaky in doing it. They got their footing. They're looking really good. The offensive line, their Chiefs offensive line, gelled. Their new offensive line, a lot of young guys on that line too. They started gelling, getting their experience, looking good. That helped things out too. The Chiefs defense has improved. It's not a great defense, but it's improved. Um, but I think the Bills right now, I think are a better team overall, and it's gonna be a great matchup with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Holy cow! But I think the Bills are gonna pull the upset. I think the Bills are going to end the Chiefs. What is it? 2-year run in a row, back-to-back years as AFC champions. Chiefs won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and the Chiefs won the AFC game and went to the Super Bowl, but lost last year to the Buccaneers. So I think we're looking at an upset here. So my pick for the conference championship games are going to be the Bills versus the Titans and the Rams versus the Packers. So those are going to be my picks for who we're going to see in the two conference championship games in 10 days. So it's been a great season. It's been a great season. Okay, let me wrap things up over here. Stefanski. Stefanski says, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that, but it's been tough. Stefanski, I think you're doing a good job. We'll see what happens with Baker Mayfield. Apparently, he just got eye surgery today, and it apparently went well, and he can see a lot better. So we'll see what happens there. Amanda Feeney says, "Hello, my husband beat Justin in his own fantasy league. Which one was that, Amanda? Which fantasy league? I'm curious because me myself here at Toilets and Titles, I'm like in 5 leagues, and that's like nothing compared to everyone else. I think like Justin, Coach, and everyone else is like in 15 leagues each. So was this a league that Justin started on his own? Is that what it was? Because here at Toilets and Titles we had Frankenstein, and that was a lot of fun. So, but yeah, Justin was saying he wasn't too happy about his performance in his fantasy leagues this year. Stefanski says he's getting rid of Baker and Landry. I don't blame you. I like Landry, but I always thought people made too much out of Landry. He needed OBJ to be the OBJ we're seeing now in the Rams. It didn't happen. But Baker, yeah, we'll see what happens with Baker, man. I mean, Cleveland could be in the market this draft for a quarterback as well. We'll see. And if they do let him go, where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? It's going to be interesting to see. But I do like Kevin Stefanski. I think you're a really good head coach, and I love your running game. I love that two-headed monster that you got over in Cleveland. I really do. Sorry, Bubby. Amanda Feeney says. His home league. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know he started at least one league, and Like I said though, I know Justin wasn't too happy with his performance in his leagues this year, so I felt bad for him. All right, guys, so that's it here for me. And before I go, just want to make a grand announcement. I am a Giants fan, a New York Giants fan. I am launching. This is a grand announcement. I am launching this week the Toilets to Titles New York Giants Corner this week. That is my own program where here at Toilets to Titles, where I'll be talking Giants content, and I'll be wearing my Giants cap, and I want to wave the Giants flag a little bit. So looking forward to doing that. We've been horrible for 10 years, but I'm hoping things are up on the rising up now, and that we're going to get some sanity in that front office. Hopefully, we'll get a good GM, and I think we will. We'll see what happens. But I'm kind of like a Mr. Optimist by nature. I'm kind of like a glass half full type of guy, so I'm always looking on the bright side of things. So, but I'm launching. I might even launch it tomorrow morning. I better launch it before they hire their GM because I want to get my thoughts on the GM process and their candidates and their candidates. So I got to get that thing started. Uh, Also, T2T, the T2T off-season schedule is being developed, and it's going to contain a lot of draft content in the off-season here at Toilets and Titles, including mock drafts. So I'm going to be hosting after the Super Bowl. I'm starting that Wednesday after the Super Bowl. I'm going to be hosting a mock draft every Wednesday night. I think or maybe every other Wednesday night. I'll be hosting a mock draft where you, the viewers, can come on, and if you want to pick your team, like the Browns or the Packers, I'll have you pick for them. We'll just start off with the first round, and when we get closer to the actual draft, I'll do two and three. I'll do the second and third rounds as well. But I figure like every Wednesday night or every other Wednesday night, I'm going to host a mock draft. You can come in the chat if you're a Packers fan, you're a Browns fan, you're a Giants fan, myself, Cowboys fan. I'll let you pick for your team, and we'll try to keep it going pretty quick so no one gets bored. Also, another announcement. February 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a Saturday night. We're going to have the first ever Toilets Titles Dungeons and Dragons episode slash adventure. It's going to take place. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get idiots just having fun. That's all. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's pretty much it, guys. So just a reminder, after the show, probably around 10:30 p.m., is going to be Dollars to Deuces, your weekly betting advice program. Here are the Twitter handles for me and all my colleagues here at Toilets to Titles. There's about 15 of us now. We're a great crew. Follow everyone. They deserve it. Everyone contributes videos, articles, just tons of great stuff. So, and one friendly reminder, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell, give us that 5-star Apple review because we deserve it. Damn it. That's right. I said, damn it. I cursed. I cursed. Okay. Hey, Amanda. She says, I did great. Have a great night. You too, Amanda. You are great. Awesome. You are my favorite Justin cousin ever. Ever. You're the best. There's no Justin cousin better than you, Amanda. Have a great night, kid. All right, everyone. I'm out of here. I'll see you Sunday morning. Take care. And Sunday morning, I'm going to be starting my own draft program where I'm going to be talking about each Sunday. I'm going to be talking about um, players coming into the 2022 draft by position. So I'll be doing like this weekend. I plan on doing like the top 10 defensive end and edge rushers. Um, this Sunday, probably like the top 10. And then maybe the Sunday after that, I'll do like top wide receivers or top tight ends or something like that. So, but each Sunday, I'm going to do a different position, and I'm going to give you the names who I like a lot, their strengths, maybe their weaknesses. And so I'm going to be doing that this Sunday morning at around 8 a.m. Going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. I'm sorry, Amanda's sister. Yeah, his sister. I'm sorry, Amanda. I apologize. Listen, it's late. It's been a long day. You're my favorite sister that Justin has. Even if you're the only one, you're my favorite one. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.